everyone, I'm Jean Carroll. I am the Adult Services Librarian, and today I'm going to show you how to make this lovely winter hat garland. It's very simple, very cool, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. Okay, so in your kit, you will see a list of instructions, a paper towel roll, you will have 6 bundles of thread that are pre-cut, and each one will make a hat. And you'll probably have enough yarn left over if you want to make a separate hat. We've overestimated the amount of yarn. So you'll have one long piece of yarn for the garland. You'll have some cotton balls. Inside the cotton ball bag, there'll be a small needle. You'll need that for threading the hat onto the garland, so don't lose that. And lastly, you'll have a bag of the beads. And you can put the beads in between the garland. These are wooden beads. You can paint them. You can get as creative as you would like. They're wooden, so again, you can color them, or you can leave them natural. So you may be wondering what the cotton balls are for. And after you make your hat, you put the cotton ball on the inside. And again, these are the beads. You can put 2 beads, 3 beads. You do not have to stick to what we've done. You can do as many as you'd like. Also, we have provided the neutral yarn in whites and grays. If you have yarn at home that you would like to use, you can get as creative as you'd like. And also, you can make them single ornaments, like this one. So you can make the garland, and you can also make little hat ornaments to give away or hang on your Christmas tree. Okay, so that's what we have in here. You'll start with cutting this roll into pieces for the brim. And you can make the brim as wide or as narrow as you'd like. But they are about 1 inch wide. Again, it doesn't have to be specific, and you can experiment. Maybe you'd like a larger hat, a smaller hat, but that's what this paper towel roll is for. Okay. You'll have your bundle of yarn, and I'm going to show you how to start making the hat. For the demonstration, I'm going to use yellow yarn so that you can see it and it kind of pops out. The gray doesn't show up too well on the table here. So you're going to take your 1 inch piece of paper towel roll that you have cut up. You're going to undo your first bundle to make your first hat. I'm going to take my first piece of yarn and fold it in half. I'm going to take my roll and I'm going to feed the hoop like this. Then I'm going to put the open ends through the hoop and pull it somewhat tightly. Once you get it into place, just kind of give it a little bit of a yank. And we're going to keep doing this over and over until the yarn is all across. Okay, so again, I'm going to take my loop in half. The loop goes like this. And I'm I'm going to move it over closer to the other piece and tighten it. Okay? So you're going to put your hoop, if you put it down and you go do something else and then you pick this back up later and you don't know which way to feed it, you put the hoop, the closed hoop, in towards your strands here. So the hoop goes in like this. The loose ends go over the top and pull tightly. See, it is very simple once you get the hang of it. I'll do one more. Fold it in half. I've taken my loop and I'm feeding it towards my open strands here. Put the yarn in here, move it over into place, and give it a nice tug. So these are all, you can keep tugging them if they get loose. And I'm going to keep going with the rest of my yarn until it looks like this. Okay. Now that you've seen the hoops, I can go back to the gray yarn. What I'm going to do now is grab all of the loose pieces and push them up through the brim So now see, we see the hat starting to form. And you'll want to push the knots so that they're underneath. Okay. So now we have all the loose strands on the top. I'm going to grab the top of my hat like so. Once you have your hat like this, you're going to take another piece of the yarn from your bundle here, and you're going to tie it in a knot. It's hard to see with the gray on gray, but do you see what I'm doing here? I'm tying the string here. My palm is very big, but I'm going to trim those down. Okay, so I'm going to double knot this so it stays in place. Okay. You can see the hat is pretty much formed. I'm going to take one of my cotton balls, give it a little bit of shape here. And then I am going to trim my palm so that it looks nice and neat. Okay, so I put my cotton ball in here and I'm just going to trim. It's not rocket science. There's really no right way to do this, just until you like the way it looks. Okay, see, my hat is done. Ta-da! One hat is complete. I'm going to make the end of my garland. I'm going to create a hoop, so I'm going to fold it down. Doesn't have to be that big, maybe about 2 inches. And I'm going to create a knot. Okay. And then maybe even double it. Okay, so this will be one end of the garland, and I'm going to start feeding the beads through first. The beads are on the end, and then I'll feed my new hat that I just made through. So on the other end of my yarn, this is the back end, the front end, I'm going to feed through the needle. So you're gonna have to feed it all the way through the yarn. It's a little tricky with the feeding. It's like feeding the eye of the needle sewing, but with a big fat piece of yarn. So I found that it's helpful to fold it. Put your glasses on if you have glasses, and feed the yarn through the needle and just tie it off as if you're going to start sewing. I'm going to double knot it. Okay, you see that? I'm going to put it all the way at the end so it doesn't get stuck, and clip off the excess. So now I have my needle and I have my long piece of yarn with the hoop at the end. Okay, I'm going to start with my beads. You might have to pull it through a little. You can do 1 bead, 2 beads, 3 beads, as many as you want. I'm just going to feed 3. And I'm going to push them all the way back to the end of my piece of yarn. Okay, so now I have the 3 beads, and I want to stop these beads from sliding. There's a couple of different ways you can do this. If you're pretty dexterous, you can tie a knot. It might get a little bulky once you have all your hats on here. So another way to put a knot here is to take a little piece of yarn that maybe you've trimmed. Of course, you can make them white, but I'm making it gray so you can see what I'm doing here. We want to hold the beads in place. Trimming off the excess. So now we have the beginning of our garland here. Now I'm going to take the hat that I made just a minute ago, and you can just feed it right through the yarn like this. And again, we're going to just pull the whole long piece of yarn through my hat. And looking at my demo here, I have about 3 inches in between the beads and the hat and the next set of beads. Again, you can do whatever you'd like. If you want to follow the sample, we're going to slide our hat to be about 3 inches away. You don't need to make a knot for the hat because they stay pretty still. But I'm going to set another 3 beads in, and I want to stop the beads from moving around. So I like to take a little piece of yarn from my scraps. Again, you can make it white so it's not noticeable. And I'm going to go over to my bag with my beads. Might have to wiggle it a little bit to get it through the knot. And now I have my 3 beads here that I'm going to slide up through the knot next to the hat. coming along nicely. We have our hook, 3 beads, a hat, or 3 beads. I need to tie off the beads on this side so that they don't go anywhere. And everything I've shown you just gets repeated. Keep my beads in place. Trim off my excess yarn. I'm going to take the next hat I made and do the same thing. I'm going to take my needle, feed it through the hat, put it in position, take the next set of 3 beads, put a knot in my yarn where I want the beads to stop, and you can just play around with the spacing until your finished product looks like this. Isn't this adorable? I hope you have a very good time creating your own garland. If you have any questions or get stuck at any point, please call us here at the library. Any of us would be more than happy to help you if you get stuck. Thank you so much for coming to our virtual program today. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find it on our webpage. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you would like to show us your finished product, comment on social media. We'd love to see your finished craft. Again, until next time, I'm Jean. Thanks for joining me.